Hey, podcast listeners, here's what you can expect from this week's episode. Every now and then, someone from around here takes that small town work ethic we all grew up with and builds something that makes the world pay attention. Our guest today, Adam Rammel, did exactly that. From his roots in Coldwater, Ohio, to co-founding Brewfontaine, to helping lead the downtown revival in Bellefontaine with Small Nation, Adam's story is what happens when you mix hometown grit with big picture vision. This episode just isn't about beer or business. It's about believing in where you're from, betting on yourself, and finding purpose in what you build. Today's episode will get into authenticity, fear, leadership, and the truth about chasing peace instead of chasing success. But first, let's talk about the place that already knows how to build community, the Salina Moose Lodge 1473. You know, there's just something about the Salina Moose Lodge that feels like home. The kind of place where you walk in, somebody's already saving you a seat, the music's rolling, and before you know it, you're right where you're supposed to be. This Thursday, November 6th, Steve Rosenbeck takes the stage from 7 to 10 p.m., bringing that classic small town sound we all love. And while we're sitting here enjoying it, the Board of Officers of the Moose will be down in Moose Haven, Florida, repping Salina at the National Chili Cook-Off. They've taken home the People's Choice Award 4 years in a row, and you know they're aiming for the 5th. Because the Moose isn't just a place to grab a drink, it's where community comes together. It's where Mercer County feels like home. If you want to be part of something special, something different, and something unique, join the Salina Moose Lodge today. Hello and welcome to the Two Dads Podcast, episode number 38. To my left, Adam Rammel and Slick Willie. Hey, how are you, buddy?
Hey, how are you? You're not supposed to take my line there, but I try to think. I wait till the episode 38. I couldn't think of a single athlete number 38, so that one's on me. How you doing, Slimer?
I forgot. I was like, are you talking to Adam? No, I'm doing well. Just spilled beer right on my laptop, so you got to love that. Cracked one open right as we start. But that's the beauty of a podcast. You know, you burn laptops, you burn up this very expensive equipment. But I'm doing great, buddy. Adam, how are you, sir?
Good. Thanks for having me, boys.
Yeah, how far? Where did you come from?
Bellefontaine.
So you had to make the drive.
50 minutes or so.
I know that drive too well. You know, I got to meet my ex. We passed the kids off in Bellefontaine at the vertical drop. You know what I'm talking about, right? At the Mad River Mountain. That's right.
Vertical drop.
That's what it's called. It's like the.
I think they sell the gear there. Yeah.
They sell they used to or something before they moved it. But
back in college, we had Hell Week at Mad River Mountain. And when you do that, when you're in conditioning, it's the last thing you want to do. So any UNH racers listening to this one will know. We had to run up the double diamond hill or whatever in the middle, the steep one. That was our conditioning. Mm-hmm. And then we got to the top. Our coach, guess he rented it out for 2 hours or something like that, or an hour. He's like, yeah, we got time for another one. Why don't you go back down and do it again? I'm talking guys were throwing up on the hill. They're going sideways. They're going longer, but it's easier because it's not so straight up. I don't ever want to go back to Mad River.
I thought my life was hell and divorce, but that sounds way worse.
Well, I mean, we did sign up for it, but it was good. Shout out Coach Hartman.
Yeah, shout out.
Mitch, you and I were emailing or texting because of the drop in Bellefontaine, and we just never made a chance to get together.
You're right. You're right. That is so weird.
Yeah, I didn't know if you remembered that or not.
No, I do now. I just did that to somebody. I have to be honest with everybody listening. You know, we meet a lot of people. We don't know the faces, though. We don't often, some people come up. I was at a wedding. No, not intentionally. But I was at a wedding the other week. You know, Bill was the one I had to wear like a black tie. Went to Washington D.C. Wow. And I was at this wedding, and this guy's like, Mitch, what's up? And I was like, who am I talking to? And like, it's Brian. We were at the party. I was like, oh, my bad, dude. Like, yeah, it's not intentional, Adam. But thank you for making the trip down here. It's good. Man. Yeah, Mike Hibner from the Mr. Shop said I had to have you on here. So anything Mike says, we get done. Hooked us up. Speaking of Mike, he was the one that hooked me up with the tuxedo. So it's a full circle moment here. But it's good to have you. Drive was over? Was good.
Yeah. Mike actually texted me today. He's hanging out in St. Thomas this week, I believe. I know, so don't feel too bad for that guy.
Commissions from my tux.
I was just going to say, that tux put him over. He could book the flight after that.
That's right.
Well, that's awesome. What's it like being back? I mean, you're a Coldwater kid. You're originally from Mercer County. Mm-hmm. Do you often make it back this way?
Yeah. I mean, literally, my brother lives right over here, a pitching wedge away, I think. And my parents are close to the landfill there on 127 by the Mercer County Elk. So that's where I grew up, graduated from Coldwater. And get back here, every couple months or something at least for birthday parties and whatnot. We're far enough to be away, but close enough, to be able to, come home often. So
you gonna visit your brother while you're here?
I don't know. I'll drive by.
That's gonna be such a funny story, though. Just be like, yeah, I was just right at your house. You didn't stop by. No, I don't want to see you. We're a podcast. I get back home.
Well, they're Rammels. They do enjoy drinking. So, like he said, that could turn into a night of drinking and not getting home tonight. So, you never know.
That's true. It's a weird weekend, though. I don't know anyone listening is into, energies and frequencies. I am. I'm sort of in tune to that. I don't feel like an empath sometimes, but there's a weird comet. You hear about the comet that's going by behind the sun? 3-Eye Atlas. If you guys want to check it out, look up some weird stuff. It's like a comet that's not tracking like a comet behind the sun right now. It's going to appear Thursday. So they say like the energy and stuff this week's a little different. You feeling good, Bill? How you feeling?
Well, I would say if they hear this on Tuesday, if comet hits, we might have a different story.
Good news, not heading toward Earth.
So breaking news on Tuesday when you hear this, Mitch's comet did not hit the Earth like the other 37 that were supposed to hit the Earth.
Sometimes when the podcast has audio issues or bad things that go on, you'd think a comet hit this house by the way that I react, but neither here nor there.
It's the guy mowing the yard out front.
And it's spooky weekend, hence why you guys are dressed up.
Yeah.
Where's your costume,
I'm just dressed like
Adam?
a dad. I'm just dressed like a dad. I heard this is the dad's podcast.
Yeah.
And
Jeans,
the older
golf
I
polo.
get, it's like the shoes just got to be comfortable. Don't care what they look like. I'm totally turning into a
You dressed
dad.
up as a cop-out. That's awesome. That's really...
Thanks.
So for those listening right now, our guest today isn't just pouring beers. He's pouring belief back into small towns. From the quiet streets of Coldwater, as mentioned, to the booming downtown of Bellefontaine, Adam Rammel turned a bar into a beacon, co-founder of Brewfontaine, co-owner of the Syndicate, and VP of Marketing for Small Nation. Probably a lot more. He's got his hands in a lot of things. He's helped rewrite what a thriving small town story looks like. But this isn't just about how to build a restaurant. No, Bill and I are trying to get new perspectives. This is about why someone builds anything at all and how to stop yourself from spreading too thin. What drives a guy to see the possibility where others see empty buildings? What keeps him grounded when his success hits? And how does he keep showing up for people and a place that once felt forgotten? So let's crack one open. I got a beer over here. I know Adam does. He's got one from his own bar, but because today we're talking about homegrown visionary
You try this, Bill?
who's
I'm 100%
never
gonna
stopped
try
betting
that.
on his backyard. So, Adam, thanks for being here. Appreciate you guys.
Well said.
Meanwhile, I know I early in the episodes when I was drinking the Pounders, the Busch Light Pounders, I just want to recognize the size of the oil can that Adam's pouring right now. For you guys not watching on YouTube, you should also like, subscribe, and comment.
That
But
makes
this
me
is-
feel a little like I'm kind of insecure about how large that can is. That's like a home record.
It's
size
32
can.
ounces, and it looks way bigger than what a 32-ounce Gatorade does. And I love the oil can aspect. Reminds me of what's the Australian beer that I'm thinking
Foster's.
of? Foster's.
Australian
Yeah.
for give me your best Foster's Australian for beer.
Foster's.
Foster's Australian beer.
That's better, mate.
There you go.
So I see the jalapeno.
So
It
no,
smells
this
incredible.
is this is our crowler design. So we used to have the growlers, which you guys would be familiar with, filling it up. Think Muller Brew Barn. And then we went to crowlers because we learned that people only want a couple pints sometimes, and it stays more fresh. And so this comes right out of the tap, and then you just seal it up.
What's in that? That's incredible.
So this
I don't
is
know how to
our
describe
collaboration with
Let me get a toke on that.
Roundhouse Brewing in Bellefontaine. So every year for Halloween, we will do the Ichabod Train. It's a pumpkin pie pale ale, I believe I'm saying that right. If not, Fitz will butcher me on that. But let me read. I actually wanted to take a picture, so I didn't.
Yeah, do that.
So the way our beer menus reads, let's see if you guys agree with these notes. It's a cream ale, so mouth-watering pumpkin pie flavor, a fun, spooky name, and it's a collab between Brewfontaine and Roundhouse Brewing. Could the Ichabod Train be any better? Seasonal. I had to bring you that one.
So all this side seasonal. I really like it.
That's pretty good.
I can't put the tongue on like the pumpkin as much. It's pretty subtle.
I taste a pumpkin.
I think it's subtle, but the creaminess, like the cream part of it, I can definitely taste the cream part. I really like that.
It tastes like you didn't show up in a costume, and we're in costumes right now if you're watching on YouTube. No, it's very good. I don't like a heavy pumpkin taste. I'm not a big pumpkin pie guy, but I will say this is pretty good. I mean, no free brand deals, but pretty good.
Yeah.
Bill, out of 10, what do you give this beer?
I would say I really like it. Now I'm going to keep this in two different scales, like El Presidente does, right? Like if I want to go out drinking for a night, I can't drink 18 of these probably. But if I'm going for dinner and I'm having 2 or 3 with some food, I would probably give it like an 8.5. I really like
Good
it.
score. I'm at like a 7.1. I think it's a very fair score. You drink a lot of beers now that you own, you know. We started a chicken truck, and I don't really eat a lot of chicken anymore.
Yeah.
Bill and I are really kind of tired of our own product.
Yeah.
Do you still drink your own product now that you produce it so much? Or
So that's one differentiator, I guess. So we're not a brewery. So Brewfontaine isn't a brewery, even though a lot of people think it is because
I
of
thought
the
it
name.
was. My bad.
Right.
Idiot.
And so it's just taproom restaurant. Think any normal restaurant, right? And I'm really glad. At one point, we were home brewing. That's how we got into this. We were driving to Columbus to get flights and growlers and doing home brew, and thought that Bellefontaine could support an establishment like that. Thought about doing brewing ourselves. Glad we didn't, because look at consumer palates and changing of non-alcoholic drinks. Alcohol, probably not in Mercer County, but everywhere else, alcohol is on the decline. And drank a ton of beer when we opened Brewfontaine. Timed that awesome, but it's all changing now.
You said alcohol is on the decline?
Yeah.
Explain that. I think that's fascinating.
We did it when we first started our first episode. Fun fact: we had one of Mitch's buddies runs Good Liar Beer.
Yeah.
Good Liar Beer is an NA beer, so they
Yeah,
were one of
you're
our
right.
first sponsors.
Nice. Yeah, you're seeing a huge demand due to health. The younger population would prefer to smoke weed or edibles. And then you've got, just the effects that alcohol, do on people. It's just, the chart doesn't lie. Again, we probably are an outlier here in Mercer County, but it is something that if you're in the business of selling alcohol, it's something you got to keep an eye on.
That's fact. I mean, NA beer is a way to back it up. But I will say, even Mercer County as an outlier, I know it's like a braggadocious thing. It's always been like, we're the number one underage drinking county in the United States. Whether that's a fun fact or not, I've heard it growing up. Like, we drink so much more than California. We've heard it all. But I will say, I think that that's true. Just from a feel standpoint. You know what I mean? I'm sitting here going like, now that I think about it, there's a lot more people like Bill and I. It's funny you say this. Like, I'm having a bush. Like, this is the first time I'm drinking this week. And I just do it to just like, it's a nice little conversation starter. I used to drink a lot more, whether I was live streaming or just way too casual after COVID. But it's weird. Bill and I even are starting to shape up a little bit as we try to have a higher consciousness, whether it's for a comet going around the sun or just two guys trying
Still
to be.
not going to hit us.
Yeah, it's right. Oh, hope not. Knock on wood. But what I will say is, like, I noticed that too. I think a lot of people, and I think our listeners right now, who sort of gravitate toward a show like this, maybe even thinking to themselves, if not already at that phase, like, I kind of want to drink less, because it's the same thing you said.
Sober curious is like what people are studying right now, and there are a lot of people on the fence on that. And then, you've got, what is it, what's the dry month? Dry January. Now there's Sober October, which is one that's trending. And then I'm glad you said COVID, because that's the point I forgot to make, was so many of us drank so much during that period of time that's another reason why it's on the decline.
That was an interesting period.
I also think part of it, probably the awareness of mental health, obviously. I'm sure alcohol and weed and any other drug is kind of like a coping mechanism for depression and mental health issues. So I would think most prescribed doctors would probably say, hey, you should probably cut that stuff out because it's a coping mechanism, right? I'm depressed, I'm going to go home, I'm going to drink 18 beers, I'm going to sleep, and then you just get in that funk and you kind of can't get out of it. I'd also say probably for beers, seltzers are really taking off to a degree, so I feel like that would definitely enable the growth of beer. Still alcohol, right? But
And look at mocktails, growing segment. I mean, you go out to eat, and chances are you're going to see mocktails, which is another way that restaurants can make up for the lost profit on the alcohol, is to get a similar price for a mocktail that doesn't have alcohol but still looks fancy and tastes great.
Well, there's like a hybrid too. Like, if you look at, it's so funny that you open up this can of worms, because it's like, I've been seeing this stuff happen in front of my eyes. I'm getting like, everybody's on Instagram or sifting through, and they'll get these like, are you trying to stop drinking? And
Exactly.
I'm like, kinda. And they're like, try mushrooms or try like these alternatives. So there's a lot of liquid alternatives that I imagine restaurants will sort of gravitate to that will give you similar effects without all the health conscious things that I don't want to go on like a tangent on this, but as we open up this conversation with Adam Rammel, who's taking the time to join us today, I do feel like there's a sense of a pendulum, and life going toward COVID was like vices, drugs, alcohol, weed on the rise, fast food, fast casual, Chipotle, and I do feel like it's kind of
chicken and fries.
Dude, that's chicken and fries.
Well, I was at I serve on the Ohio Restaurant Association, which is now the Ohio Restaurant and Hospitality Alliance, and we just had a meeting last week, and fast casual for the first time was actually on the decline, and fine dining was trending up in the month of September or October, whenever those numbers were, which usually fast casual has been murdering it. Mm-hmm. I mean, you look at Chick-fil-A, you look at what you guys are, so I don't know what that's telling us. The other thing is this GLP-1 drug, which if they get it in pill form, they're thinking 10% of the population could be on Ozempic or a similar drug, which that affects all of us that are selling food.
Yeah, I would think, I guess I don't know the best way to say it. I would say for the fast casual, I think maybe the prices of fast food are getting so up there. Like if McDonald's is now $14 for a meal, would I rather sit down at, I'm just going to say like Applebee's or something like that for $18, right? Like I think the difference there, it's kind of closed the gap. Fast food used to be more cheap too, right? Like
people are doing it less, but when they do it, they want the quality experience.
Yeah, which I think speaks to everything. Like, I mean, I've said at multiple restaurants. I've only eaten at Brewfontaine once and the Syndicate once, but there's a lot of good quality food when you have to sit down. Because you also have to face those people, right? Like they're sitting in your restaurant. They don't just drive away. They're like, this hamburger sucks. Like I shouldn't have went here.
You got to be on all points.
Yeah. So I think it's a good thing. I'm glad you're bringing some analytics here. You're speaking my language.
Yeah, I like this. I think the other thing that comes to mind is like we can't disagree that during the COVID mentality that the government debased a lot of our cash. So going out and eating every day, which that younger culture was sort of gravitating to, like now they're looking maybe a little less. You're looking a lot more at your budgetary reasons when you're staring down less value for your dollar. I mean, I don't care what side of the fence you sit on in politics. We still printed a lot of currency out there. And right now, the value of your dollar bill, like you said, is whether it's shrinkflation or now you start to think about what's the quality of service I'm receiving for that dollar. We're starting to think about total dollars. So that's an interesting point. One of the things I want to bring back as we hone this in a little bit for listeners, though, a very fun topic, guys. I love stuff like that this is why we have the podcast for those conversations. But tell us a little bit about you. Don't go too deep into the Brewfontaine side, but you were a Coldwater kid. You graduated there. You're Mercer County. Give us a look at who Adam Rammel is real quick.
Yeah, I went to Bowling Green. Go Falcons. I've been following them this year. Eddie George at the helm.
It's a pretty bad call there.
Editor Josh is all over that.
Went there, visual communication and technology. So that's probably kind of in your wheelhouse a little bit, Mitch.
I got a real degree. I don't know what yours is. I actually got a real marketing business degree.
Okay. Well, minor in marketing, and I've always been a marketing guy, but came out of college, went to work in Sydney at Copeland, which is owned by Emerson. A lot of local people worked there, great company. 2008 happened, the housing crisis, and I got laid off with, I think, 30% of the workforce, or it was something crazy. And again, sometimes there are blessings in disguise because I'm like, well, I got to pay my college. I think I was living in Coldwater at the time. Got a job in Lima and at a boutique advertising agency. I've always been a marketing guy, so that kind of led to the next step, which was selling billboards for Comstore Outdoor, which is now what Mike leads up. And Jason Duff was the founder of that company. His first business was storage facilities, but we still manage all these entities today. But the billboard business I was Jason's first employee. And then he owned some real estate in Lakeview, Ohio, which is where the tornado just went through there at Indian Lake a few years ago. And I'd like to circle back on that too later. But we started getting buildings downtown Bellefontaine when 80% of the first floor was vacant and boarded up. We started buying buildings for $1 and just had to create our own businesses because the franchises wouldn't look at us. So we just kind of had to roll our sleeves up and figure it out. And, the rest, as they say, is history now 15 years later. We believed that we could save the town. I mean, the town was dead. There was nowhere going but up. And 600 Downtown was the first kind of project, and we recruited Michael Shepard from Kenton, Ohio, who had a pizzeria there called 600 Downtown. Bellefontaine residents are like, another pizza joint. Oh my gosh, this is never going to work. Our town sucks. I mean, people left. I mean, the town was dead.
Until they tried those garlic knots.
Yeah, exactly, or the pepperolis.
They're so
and
good.
so 600 Downtown was starting to be successful after the blood, sweat, and tears of us figuring out how to put a pizzeria in a old building. And so we got that done, and I was not a part of that project personally other than just guiding and assisting as my role with Comstore at the time, which is now Small Nation. But we saw the success there, and we said, we need beer, we need a pub, we need a place to call Cheers. And I told Jason, like, I love this beer thing. I'm seeing what 600 downtown's doing. I want to do it. And we had a building we got for $30,000. It was missing a roof, missing a floor. Worked with a local bank to get a loan. And actually, I take that back. I had a private friend loan us our first $120,000 to get Brewfontaine up. And I think we paid that back in like a year. It was insane. I wish those days were here now because it's much different. But and then we were rocking and rolling. And as my marketing hat on and things, we were voted best beer bar in Ohio. Just double, tripled down on that. But it's changed. Like the days of doing our tap takeovers when craft beer, everybody wanted the weirdest, wackiest stuff. We would clean up in Thursday, but also we were one of the only options in town. Yeah. But now with people drinking less beer and all this, we gotta pivot and innovate because our business is different. We do more food than beer, you know. But it's just all different. But 10 years down, we celebrate 10-year anniversary next month.
Wow, congratulations! And I always want to say shout out whoever that really nice friend of yours was for the large private donation, because I don't think
no donation. I paid that back.
No, I paid it back. But like this, the when I said donation, like the gesture of trusting anybody, because a lot of these small businesses, funding is one of the biggest roadblocks. Right? Yep. They have dreams and aspirations. Yep. A lot of them are young business owners. We had Logan on, he's 20, I think, or 21. Mm-hmm. He bought the old Willow in Salina.
Yeah, I've been following them. I wondered if...
Yeah, so he was on a podcast early, so he had the guy who previously owned it that helped him out, and his dad mortgaged some stuff against it to have it.
You got to get scrappy, and that's what people think, that you got a golden goose or you got a money tree in your backyard. You just got to find people that believe in you. I'm having conversations, speaking of Mike, about Coldwater. Someone's got to strike the match in Coldwater. The Langeys have done an amazing thing with the Gross's Furniture Building. We need a restaurant in downtown Coldwater, and Small Nation wants to come over and help a little bit, but we need to get some people that want to put some money in and put some put a little skin in the game to want to actually do it, because talk is cheap.
Yeah.
So what made you go all in on building Bellefontaine? You saw restoration opportunity. I think I'm just curious about why. Like what pushed you to want to restore? Like what deep down were you trying to accomplish to do so?
So, like I said, a lot of this was Jason's vision with Lakeview, and then us seeing the potential in Bellefontaine. The town could go nowhere but up. When I say like 80% of every single storefront, definitely second floor, first floor was boarded up. I mean, think tumbleweeds, think the worst case in a movie.
Wow.
Like first couple buildings were $1. Like we bought them for $1 bill because the city was going to tear them down. So we said, why can't we save this thing? I mean, why not? And so that's what we did. It's been a lot of work, but man, then it's kind of like infectious because other entrepreneurs want to be a part of it. And that's kind of our secret sauce with Small Nation is people want the support, just like you guys said with these startups. People want to know how they can do it because they just have so many questions. And even when you start that business, you don't know what you don't know. You're always learning, especially these new businesses, because at the end of the day, we're a real estate developer, but we're not just collecting rent. If these tenants in these businesses are not successful, then we have nothing, right? So
that's fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean,
sorry, good.
I'm just trying to think of what it's like to achieve that. You know what I mean? Like when you're starting this and you're sort of building the billboards under Jason and really figure this out, and yes, you're buying them for $1. What does that take to get started though? Like what does it really take? Yes, obviously you have to find. I mean, you tell me. You need venture capital. Mm-hmm. You need a vision.
Not venture capital,
or you need just regular capital.
Yeah, local banks that believe in your vision, or a friend or family member that believes in your vision. Architects, engineers, people that we've never, at the start, we just had to trust people, vendors, and that's how we build a lot of relationships. I mean, we work with a lot of them still today. You think of Revival Design Studio, Callie and Tim live here, Grand Lake, and they've done 80% plus 90% of our projects at Small Nation because we have a great relationship. So early on, it's just you're just having to figure it out. And we made a lot of mistakes and lost a lot of money, along the way.
What were some of those mistakes that you made?
Oh, betting on the wrong people, Or so many people want to message us every week because everyone's got an idea, right? And they're called tire kickers. And so we've kind of refined our process on certain questions, or a lot of times we'll give test projects to them, like to maybe do some research, and you got to see who's actually willing to put in the work.
Yeah, I think my favorite thing is when we went to start. We have a dumpster company here, Mitch Stogler and I, locally. Like the whole idea of starting it all up with your own capital, then going to the bank, and the bank saying, no, you need 2 years seasoning before we even consider it, because how many people start for 6 months, realize how hard it is. They're like, hey, I'm done, I'm out, and now you're defaulting on those loans and the banks don't do it. So I think the big thing is like the commitment, because your tire kickers have great ideas sometimes, but they're also not business people. And that's okay to a degree, but you got to be a grinder. Like you've got to put in long hours, long days, and just grind.
The business has to make money.
Yeah, and it's basic economical. But I think people want paid first a lot of times, right? And I think that's also like the asterisk. So you having a salary to start with and starting these other ones definitely makes things a little bit easier, because you're not putting your family at risk a little bit, saying,
well, the other thing
I'm
is,
putting them all in.
Jason had a great family foundation and successful businesses too. So that obviously helps. And we all know people that have come from situations where they've been blessed maybe better than others, and some piss it down the drain and some turn it into, tenfold. So, that definitely does help, having some of that experience and structure and background and history and all of that stuff, relationships most importantly.
How do you develop those relationships? Is it just over time? Is it trust? I mean, a lot of the people that listen to this podcast, you're a seasoned vet. You've got a lot of resources already at your disposal, whether it's through Jason or whether it's through your own experience of failures. A lot of people have similar intentions, and I'm sort of trying to give them some advice of how to maybe get there or where to start. They might not be after the full total economic redevelopment, but like you said, there are people that might listen to this in Indian Lake who just had a tornado and don't even know where to begin, So what advice do you have for people that are sort of self-starters that are on the cusp of sort of heading this direction, but maybe aren't really sure how to do that yet?
Yeah, several things come to mind. One is people love to mentor and give back. So if you ask someone for coffee, conversations are free, and most people want to help others, just why I'm here on this podcast. The other thing is I came into Bellefontaine not knowing anyone. Of course, I leveraged Jason and the situation I was in, and I took the chamber president out to lunch. I sent a lot of emails to young professionals to get a young professionals group going that I saw worked in Lima. I made shit happen, and it's easy to just say, "Yeah, I'm going to do that," but like you got to show up, you got to do what you say you're going to do, you got to care, and maybe that's I don't know what creates that care. And now that I'm hiring a lot of people, I've learned that you either have it or you don't. You can teach the skills, but you either give a shit or you don't. And in this world anymore, there's more and more people who don't give a shit. So if you're guys like us that actually care, oh my gosh, now we look like rock stars. Right. And it's sad that the customer service level in our country has gotten to that point. But at what point now do you ever expect 5-star service going anywhere? Our bar has been lowered tremendously.
That's true. How do you differentiate, right? I know earlier you said, there was some, maybe some bad hires or people that weren't it, right, when you were young. For me in a management level too, I've done this a lot, right? How long do you wait on those people? I think this is a big thing, because if you've never really managed at a high level, you might see a lot in a lot of people, right? You want to see the good. That's where your brain, and I think guys like our hearts are set, right? But when you're talking business and you're talking dollars, there is a shot clock on that, right? Like, how do you make that call? Is it more from the fundamental side? Because I'm all people. Like, I think if I find the person, I can fix the person to learn anything. But a lot of people want to see, this is the best accountant you have, but they're an asshole, but they're really good at their job. Like, I'm just not pro that. I'm pro cut the fat, build people, don't build jobs.
It's so funny you say that, because I just went through a situation a week and a half, 2 weeks ago with our chef at the Syndicate. And the other thing you said there was you can teach skill, but I still think you can't teach people to fix themselves. So many people in our industry, and why hospitality is like the number 2 in occupied people in hospitality, other than what is number one? I don't know. Hospitality's up there.
Our podcast.
Yeah, probably podcast. But like we employ a lot of people. It's a very important industry, but most of those people are, I don't want to say broken. A lot of them are broken. And entry level, very, very, very important jobs, but they need more support than anyone. And I've put up with, we've given 2 and 3 different chances to folks. And I've been burned a lot because I have a big heart too, Bill, a huge heart. But this situation with the chef, and he taught us so much. And he had that ego. He was that asshole, you know. And if he hope he doesn't listen, or he knows, because I literally spoke from my heart, and I didn't know how this meeting was going to go across the table. And I said, I can't build a company with you because you treat people like shit. And I've given you so many chances to change the way you talk to people, but if you're going to belittle people, take the credit. Like, we have no future here together. And that was a really hard one. He hugged me the next day and he said, I've lost myself. I need to go find myself. It made me feel really, really good. And the weight of the entire organization lifting and other people stepping up. And it almost seemed divine.
That was going to be my next question. How'd the team respond? Because I feel like when you tend to cut out, I'll say cancer, not in your sense, but just when you cut the cancer out, you cut the problem out, I bet the other 80, 100, how many people you have, 90% of them rallied and said, I'll pick up any slack because now the team knows what needs done.
All of them.
Yeah, that's 100%. Impressive. That's the fun part of leadership right there. That conversation he had, terrible.
Oh.
But the aftermath and the result is 100% what leadership's about.
I think one of the things key takeaway is authenticity, though. I think if you said you spoke from the heart.
I did, man. I think I was looking down. I've been thinking about it a lot.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
But I think I always say America's healing. Because I really believe that authenticity is one of the, whether you believe in frequency in comments or you believe in frequency in conversations, it's still the acoustics of just saying something that has truth to it.
Yeah.
People look to this kind of advice or this kind of podcast for truth. And whether it's a tough conversation or whether it's, I don't know, building another building, right? Mm-hmm. If you come from an authentic place, it's probably why you got the hug. It's probably
says
you're right
more
about the truth.
Yeah, you're right about that. And to his point, it was like, how long do you put up with that? And, I think deep down, that it's not a right fit, whether it's you're dating someone or you're employed by someone or an employee or whatever the relationships in life. I think when something doesn't feel right, and it's just like the inevitable, and sometimes it's better to just rip the Band-Aid off.
Let me flip that, because that's a really great point, and I love that you brought this up. We're sort of posturing this as somebody else is the problem. What about people that are listening right now who feel like they might be the problem? Like they feel like they might not fit, What advice do you have for them? Maybe both of you guys. Look, I'm coming from an authentic place here too. I'm sort of going through that too. I do a lot of consulting, and Bill and I have had conversations about, I told him this year, like next year I'm going all in on the food truck. I'm stopping all my other projects because I sit there and I go, look, I'm putting so much energy into a lot of other people's businesses. Sometimes to a fault, because what's the same word? Because I care.
Yeah.
All right, well, I feel misaligned right now, because if I would put that same volume of energy into something that I make myself alongside a very good friend of mine, imagine the damage we can do in a good way. Imagine the impact we can make. Imagine the restoration we can make being a brand who does things differently in town. Spinning that back to you as someone who's got a lot of experience, if someone's listening to this and you've had success, you clearly have had success. If you don't feel like you're in the right position, do you have any advice for somebody who needs to make the next step or the next change? If they are that person listening, maybe they are that chef, that what do they have in scarcity that they're not?
Well, I think, again, it goes back to the care, because you got to care enough to ask questions. What can I be doing? How can I help you? What can I be doing better? And some people strive to be better, and other people are fine just going through the motions. And I still see that in some of our team members today. I'd like to think that most of them, I'm getting better because you're learning on those characteristics, and I'm getting involved in the interviews more, and you know what to look for, and because sometimes the season gets busy or summer comes and you need bodies. But through the winter, when you really, like, we're going into slow season, kind of pre-holiday, and you want rock stars. I tell them we got A players, B players, C players, hopefully no D players, but we got to be continuously recruiting to, our goal should be to have all A players. It's probably never going to happen, okay? But, like, that's our goal, is to find all the A's.
Yeah. My whole sentiment with that is anytime I ever manage, like, I'll ask you, like, if there's a confrontation or you got an uneasy employee, like, hey, man, I just don't know. I'm like, do you want to work here or not? Like, do you genuinely like working here? And do you want to work here? I don't know. That's a no.
Yeah.
If it's not a yes, it's a no. There's no maybe kind of, it's black and white, right? I said, we need to figure out an exit plan. Well, I don't want to leave. I said, you just said you don't like working here. Why would you want to work here? Genuinely. If you hate your job, there's a million jobs out there. Well, I need it for the pay. I get paid here better than I'll get paid anywhere else. Okay, well then you must learn to like it here, because if not, I don't really want you on my team, right? Because it's a C player, I'll call it. They're here, they'll do it, but when you're not watching, they're not doing it. And that's kind of what you need. You need guys that are going to walk past that piece of trash in the middle of the floor and pick it up every time. That's an A player. They care. They genuinely care about the company and their coworkers and their customers.
There's two spectrums. I love it. I love hearing this stuff because one, I've been a C player at places, right? And I've had to ask myself, why am I being a C player? And for those listening that might be feeling like a C player out there right now, everyone here is right. On your side, you've got a set of rule sets. You've got a business that's got to move forward. You have to be profitable, right? So you need to be an A player to play here. Because the things that I struggled with in the past was just like I didn't like the rules you guys were making. Okay, well then build your own business, right? Take accountability, like you say, Bill.
Yeah.
Hand up accountability. Evaluate yourself in the situation of why are you being a C player? Because it either comes down to, is your potential maxed out at C, or are you lacking something? Are you seeking something more? And you can see, I think, in totality right now, it's really cool full circle here. Like the C players, here's how you're affecting the upper management you might think is so unfair.
Right.
And at the same time, here's how you self-evaluate to understand if you're feeling that. Maybe look a little deeper as to why.
I also feel this is a pretty good learning curve for any managers out there. Shout out Krista. You're going to know what I'm talking about. Mel Robbins said a really good thing. She's a writer. She's got really good stuff from a leadership aspect. But you also got to understand who you're pouring your time into, right? So as a manager, if you have your 5 employees, maybe only 4 of them have the capacity to be an A player. And that one role guy, that B player, is totally content being a B player. And he's given 100% at B. Call him a half-gallon guy, right? Mm-hmm. He's giving you 100% of a half gallon or a pint.
Huge pint, picking up the huge pint of beer. That
he might be given 100% of a half gallon. But if you compare him to your A player, he's only given half effort, quote unquote, right? Because the new guy's a gallon guy. The A player is a gallon guy. So you got to also understand your teammates and understand what they do have to give, because not everybody has A capacity. Mm-hmm. They just don't.
And your passion changes. It's just like when you're passionate, you're doing your best work. And I mean, what percentage of people are truly passionate when they wake up and go to work every day, right? I mean, I love it because it's different. I'm doing a million things. Sometimes I'm like, what the hell did I do today? But it's different, and I know I'm making an impact to my town, and I know that, I'm making progress towards the goals, and that's what drives me. Sometimes I think I have imposter syndrome, and I think that's very common too as an entrepreneur, because Mitch is over here like, you're obviously successful. You're successful. I don't view myself as that really, Others might do that. I get up every day and get kicked in the teeth in one way or another. And so sometimes it is hard to see that, but also that's why we need to kind of look in the rearview mirror and see how far we come. And that's where that reflection can really help kind of, and telling it, I haven't done this in a while, of just replaying it. And that's when it's like, that's really cool and very impactful. But when you're living day to day, dude, and it's just like, it's a shitstorm. It's, you don't see it because it's happening. It's like when you have a kid and you haven't seen them in a while versus they're growing every day with you, right? And your business is growing every day with you. And it's not till you look back and see, a couple of years later, man, you really grew,
Yeah. So, how does that lead into, we're all 3 here, at least parents. There's a lot of parents on the podcast that listen, wives, husbands, etc. I got a great wife inside. Mitch has got a great fiance, soon to be wife.
Congrats.
Back home.
Congrats.
Very much.
How do you balance that? I'm sure your wife's, with as much as you got going on, getting stretched thin, I'm sure she's a rock star. But I see your kids on social media, reading golf leagues and stuff like that. So how do you find time and how do you balance that to make sure your family's still a priority and they don't get maybe overlooked like a business might a little bit, because it's easy to get tied into that. I have the same schedule. I get it. So how do you kind of separate that and make sure you're there for your family?
Yeah, that's probably the hardest part of everything. I get sick of eating at Brewfontaine and Syndicate. Hey, let's go somewhere else. I'm like, no, we've already paid for this.
What about two dads again tonight, folks?
Yeah, exactly. But I like talking about things in front of them. They don't fully. Well, Reed's now, he's turning 12 in a couple weeks here. He's starting to get it and clicking. I don't think it's his passion yet. I need to throw his ass back in the dish tank, though. I know that to get him kind of seasoned. But I like talking about the stuff, and like they were out there when I had to blow up with the chef in the front patio. We were eating dinner, and when the situation happened, and they saw it, and I spoke from the heart then too. It was the next morning when we actually departed ways. But it's real, they see that, but. I do. The golf thing, it's never enough. Though you ask my wife, like she'd want more of my time. If you ask the team, they probably want more. We're only one person, right? And so it's really hard. And social media helps. I love sharing the family memories, and I need to share more about business. Just again, you're grinding all day long. It's hard to remember to stop and snap a photo and that kind of thing. I guess that's why Gary Vee and those guys have videographers kind of follow them around.
We just had a guy from Gary Vee on last week.
Did you? Yeah. Awesome. So that's the hardest part, Bill, is the family thing, because I'm glad that I have older friends, because it puts it in perspective, because a lot of them have now graduated and are going to college. I hang out with some older guys, and it helps me remember how damn fast this goes, and you don't want to miss this now, because it's going to be gone before, it sounds cliche, but it is so true that in the blink of an eye, none of the other shit really matters.
I love the way that you said that, because it's something that I'm sort of on my own journey with. I mean, I'm divorced, and we talk about it from the podcast. I'm not trying to belabor it, but I see my kids less. So time is a concept, whether it's invested in business or it's invested in the time that I have with my kids. Like, that was one of our big things. Like, Bill, I can't work this weekend. Why? My kids are growing, man. Like, I have to have every other weekend off, and it was an operational challenge that Bill stepped to the plate and helped us solve.
Attaboy, Bill.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Well, actually, it was really a team. Shout out Allison, Rob, Rich, Berkey. I was there a bunch, but they were there
they killed
nonstop.
And it's
they,
like you
they
said,
covered it.
everyone wanted to step up, and it was really cool. And that's why the Two Dads brand is destined for good
I love your
things.
brand, by the way. I knew from the get-go. And
Thank
I
you.
think that's when I reached out to you guys. Like, this is on point. These guys know what they're doing.
I'll be coming your way next time for the vertical, after I drop off at Vertical Drop. My question for you, though, is you talk about time, and you talk about being selective, and you talk about growth, and you talk about reminiscing on the past and making sure that you sort of make a mental checklist of what went right and what went wrong. Any daily habits or mindsets that keep you sort of grounded in this chaos? You got a lot going on.
Yeah, so, technology is great, and I'm trying to do better with these things. But, I need to do better at having boundaries of when I'm, on and off, because I'm on all the time. And, that isn't good for your mental health either.
Dude, facts.
So, just like you saw the videos, are you trying to have less screen time? Yeah. Yes.
I texted Mitch today. I'm like, I'm ready to delete all socials. It's a time suck. I stay on my phone too much. I need to reevaluate. I told him, I said, I might delete all my socials. So if I do, you guys don't see me, it's because I still
I'll run
love
the
you.
Holloway dumpsters.
But I got to reprioritize my time.
So this is very interesting, and I shouldn't share my secrets, but where I see, and so I'm involved too there in Logan County with like the Visitors Bureau, which Mad River Mountain, Indian Lake, Ohio Caverns, Marvin Valley Farms, so many fun things to do in Logan County. That's a plug for the Visitors Bureau. But I tell them that we need to double down on these experiences that are analog experiences. So keep your phone in the car. And I thought about doing dinners like this. Well, by the way, I'm following these bars and restaurants in other markets. And Chicago has one where, you put it in, like if you've gone and see Dave Chappelle or any of those, Matt Rife or those guys, they put them in the cases. And you can have it there, but you can't access it because we're breaking bread. Like, this is where true conversations and being real happens. And again, I'm a total hypocrite because I'm really bad at this. But I think that with AI now, which is awesome and helping us in ways, continues to take over life. I said, guys, VB, we need to double down on get lost in a cave, ride a horse, rent a jet ski, do the vertical drop, cross-trained like Billy Ray. I don't know. But like, we got to go back because people are going to crave these authentic experiences because of all this bullshit that is in front of our face all day.
I love that that's trending. I think we just said like America's healing, whether it's through authenticity, whether it's through truth, always rise to the top. I agree with you. I think I'm constantly judging myself the same way you did, Bill, with being on my phone list, because I've used it far too much as a crutch to say, well, it's my job. Well, I do this for a living, so I have to be on Facebook right now. I have to be on Instagram right now. I couldn't possibly take time. What I've realized is that it's if you're not doing something authentic for it and really putting something out worthwhile, then you're just sort of...
It's all dopamine.
It's all it is. You're chasing serotonin.
Dopamine. And so on the family thing, that is the biggest thing that I need to work on, is when I am with the family, of just checking this and not looking at it, because then I'm not fully present, right? Even though I posted on Facebook, right, Bill? Mm-hmm. Like, I still need to do better at that, and that's my guilty conscience. But I think we can all relate to that a little bit.
I almost thought to myself, it's because the phone is such a leisure, right? So like, I almost thought in my head, like, okay, if I want to access socials, I have to go upstairs to the office and use the computer, and think how much less you'll actually use the computer or your socials, because you have to go upstairs, you got to log on the computer, you got to log in. I don't think anybody really likes scrolling the laptop like they do their phone, because that dopamine, right? So I do genuinely think, I talked to my wife about it the other day. I said, I think I just need an exit and just a cold turkey it and see how it goes. And I think I'll be good, because I already got rid of Twitter. That helped me get rid of a time suck, because I was a good scroller and kind of a troll on Twitter. I was pretty good at that. So that was kind of my big time suck. But just with work, we're in real estate. I'm on call 24/7, 365, right? Mm-hmm. Boilers go down, people's heat right now. We're getting calls left and right, and we got dispatch maintenance guys. So all that comes with it. But I really do think that the genuine ideas that you're talking about, like if you had a night at Brewfontaine and you said there's no phones, I would go just for that aspect. I know the food's good. I know the food's good, right?
I think we can sell tickets on like a digital detox dinner or something.
Oh,
okay?
that's fun.
And like, okay, families, and they, and again, I've had good ideas in my life and bad ones where in my head, most of the time my gut's pretty right on like what people will like. I think that's one of my gifts, is like trends, and what, if I like it, I think other people will like it, but I've been wrong. And this one, I think I could see the moms and dads saying, kids, keep your device. We're going to dinner. We're going to break bread. And hopefully people are doing that at home, right? Not need an event like this. Those are the real OGs that are doing that at home without this. But like, I think there's something to that. And I think it's going to continue as these computers take over our lives.
I think we'd like to be a part of that.
Going to throw back a little bit,
I'd be all in that. I jokingly told my wife, I was in Toledo for work a couple weeks ago and stayed at a hotel. They had postcards in each room for Oregon, Ohio, up near Toledo. And I was like, damn, I haven't seen a postcard in how long? And then my operational brain was like, man, I guess what? I bet you could create something where you could pay someone to write a postcard out to someone and send it out, because no one uses postcards. And it would be a nice sentimental, it would mean more than a text message, a Facebook message, anything like that. Just think if you got a postcard in the mail today from one of your friends you haven't heard from in years. Like, wow, that guy took the time out of his day to write this damn card, mail it, instead of just calling or texting me or FaceTime.
I just keep thinking about why I want to quit everything. Genuinely, because that's so right. Like that, I talked to Jay Klaus, who's going to come on the podcast, and he's done a really good job.
He's killing it.
He's killing it. Yeah, he's a good friend of mine, Packers fan, go Pack Go. But I talked to him about these same things, and it's interesting the linkages between someone like yourself, who is successful. I think you've done a great job, and I love the mindset.
Even if you don't believe it, you've been successful.
Yeah, same with Jay. Jay will say the same thing. He'll be like, "Oh no,"
because he grinds hard too.
Exactly.
Right?
We all do it. We're all out there,
yeah.
but it's something that we have in abundance, and we just try to share this information. But I think so much about time, like you said, and how much we can work on this brand to do that. I would love to have a Two Dads where I send a postcard out to some of our biggest people that come from week to week. It goes back to, and I'm sorry, Bear, working for Mr. Beast. It was the same thing. We gave away, and we would give a lot away, and in return, you would receive so much. The gesture wasn't much. It wasn't a handwritten letter type gesture. It was just cash. It was just like, we gave a waitress $15,000. Okay, great. But I think as someone who's sort of the catalyst in this conversation, look, you've got a good new job, and you've done the damn thing. I'm sort of in the middle here. I've never taken the step to go build something for my community without having the backup job. And the backup job now is taking too much of my time to be able to I'm spread too thin to be able to give a quality experience for something like this. And I think for me, what's ringing out in this, and I don't know if listeners are feeling the same way, but it's like, that's the unlock. And so the question I have for you is, you've already built things that didn't exist. And that's sort of the difference between us. And right now, I know what's stopping me is fear. It's just the fear of like that security, or fear of the unknown, or for mostly me, it's the fear of chasing money, and it's a quantifiable number, and now my number's 0. It's not really 0 because I'll go work on the business. What's your relationship with fear now? You've seen businesses that work. You've seen businesses that fail. You've repositioned to then reevaluate, pivot, and change. How do you, as someone who's done this, does fear still visit you?
Yeah, and most of it is, financially. So these businesses take a lot of capital to run. And back in the glory days, I like to tell people that, we had 5 years of great success, timed Brewfontaine, better than you could ever time it, with where craft beer was, with where Bellefontaine was, came up with a great brand and just, knocked it out of the park, in my opinion. However, after that was the Syndicate in 2020, which was the pandemic. And so we started planning for that probably about 2018, so 3 years into the success of Brewfontaine, debt-free after that private loan, and doing well, cash in the bank, and kind of put our chips in, and that's where no fear. Because I'm like, man, everything we do it's doing great. And that'll humble you very quick. I remember getting a call from the general contractor. We're a few weeks from opening the Syndicate, and everything was shut down. And we're building a catering and event center is what the Syndicate was built for, when literally no one was doing any events anywhere. And so we pivoted to being another restaurant, adding brunch, trying to figure it out. That isn't even why the Syndicate was built, but we kind of had to lean into it. We had to pivot. We had to get creative. One thing about entrepreneurship is you can't have blinders. And I've met a lot of people that just have those blinders on. You got to be very open to adapt and change. The younger version of myself used to think that, man, these people just had it figured out, or these companies just have it figured out. They got everything figured out. Oh, how awesome would that be? And the reality is, I don't care what size company it is messy. And life is messy, and people change, and life is always going to ebb and flow. And I think that is super important to remember when you have a business, because you could look what AI is doing to Google, and they dominated for how many years, and what's going to happen there. People can come in, and literally it can change, just like what COVID did to us. You talk about sucking up cash, throwing money at a business that we're just trying to figure out, multiple GMs, multiple chefs. And so now we don't have as much gunpowder. You got a pretty hefty payroll each week, and we just don't have. So the fear is like, when I deploy some capital, it's got to be damn right now. We don't have any wiggle room to really like gamble. Does that make sense? Because we're kind of just, margins in the restaurant are slim. You guys know that. Your business probably better than most. Pretty simple chicken. I love the model. I love the simplicity, because I know how complex our damn operation is.
Mitch hears the word overhead all the time.
Yeah, and so it's just, in restaurant business, there's just a million ways for the water to leak out of the bucket.
What is overhead again?
Exactly. Look up. No, I think it's a really good. The question was incredible, right? Because like, everything's scary, but the more I've learned, right? I was a plant manager at 30, I think it was, or 29. So that was a pretty cool achievement of mine in manufacturing.
Congrats.
Huge.
And then, the first time you hit 6 figures, it's another achievement. It's like, oh my God, like I've never thought, I'm a college dropout. Like that's my favorite statistic, right? I'm a college dropout. You don't need a degree to be successful. Mm-hmm. You need a shit ton of grit and a good head on your shoulders. If you do have those two things, you'll be very successful. But really, I think where you were going with that, the fear kind of subsides, right, when you find a little success. But I think your point of people not knowing what they're doing and it's messy, a lot of really high-level leaders really don't know what they're doing, right? And I'm not saying they're not intelligent or they're not resourceful. What I'm saying is they're very good problem solvers. Here's a problem.
And you can't be good at everything. You got a team to fill those gaps, right?
Yeah, but I think relying on the problem solving. What's the problem? What's the cause? What's the fix? And how do we never do that again? Okay, cool. Right? Your fryer goes down. We had fryer go down for the fair, right? No backup fryer. Lost the fair, right? It happens, but you look at a PM schedule. How often do we PM it during the summer? Not at all, right? We do it in the off season. So with the volume that we're doing, do we need to now PM middle of the summer to say, hey, we need to be ready for this rush for fair season, right? So it's like, how do you find the problems? How do you fix them? And how does it never happen again? So the fear of things is just the unknowing. And you don't know anything. You never know what's going to happen. Right?
That's what I hate. I hate that it's not quantifiable. I think with anything, people's brains love an A to B. We love a very simple, I start here and I know what the output is. Even farmers in this beautiful, I have this hectare per yield. I should get this much corn, or I should get this much soybeans, or I should. It's so comfortable and quantifiable in a business, and making that jump from something of other people's overhead, other people's payroll, other people's quantifiableness because of the history or the data, to then jump into, well, we're 2 years into this and we don't really have a lot. And yes, we're going to run into issues. It was very uncertain for me. And what I will say very confidently now is like the hum of hearing myself work on other things that aren't leading me to fruition is so much louder now than the security issues of scarcity that I had. And it's just, it's
time.
It's time.
We got two dads, Bellefontaine. I hear you.
We got the perfect space.
Here
Van
we go,
Wert wants
baby.
us. Bellefontaine wants us. How do you bring it back home, though? All right, you've done it in Bellefontaine. Bring up the tornado. You wanted to talk about that.
Well,
we just had a town ravaged by a tornado that went through. I drive by it on 33 every time I take my kids back. I've seen it when it was detoured. You had to go around. You couldn't even go through 33. I've seen it when it was kind of cleaned up and the trailer park is missing now and buildings are gone. Do you replicate success now? Like what's next for your
real quick on the fear point.
Sure, please,
what is the
please,
fear? What is the cost of not jumping? Right.
Let's talk about
and
that.
like you're young. You're a lot, and honestly, a lot of our entrepreneurs in Bellefontaine are what we call second act entrepreneurs. So a lot of them have worked at Honda or have worked 30, 40, 50 years and always had a passion or hobby, but never really had a chance to do it. Now they see the energy and they want to create their craft shop or they want to do a wine bottle shop or whatever it is. And so I think at any age, different circumstances, you wait for the kids, but man, you guys have a great brand. And hopefully this is the episode that the next episode he's like, I did it. I did it.
It's coming.
I'm just gonna weekly update. Did Mitch do it?
Did Mitch quit? Yes or no?
The meteor hit before he could. Talk to me about that, because we have a lot of secondhand entrepreneurs. A lot of the people that we talk to, or at least in Mercer County, started the Crown route. They started the Minster Machine. They started. Bill, you were in St.
started at
Mary's.
Crown.
Yeah, but I'm saying you went to St. Mary's, but you still were industrial.
Yep.
And a lot of them come up with the idea afterwards. I think it's their great awakening in a way. They go through the shuffle, like Tim Goodwin said on our episode. He's like, yeah, you get your high school, and you get your girlfriend, and then you go to the machine shop, and then you get married, and then you have 15 children because it's Mercer County. And I noticed that a lot of people that will talk to us in private who are not confident enough yet to say it out loud is that they're feeling that fear of failure. They're feeling that like, I didn't play ball, and now I'm feeling guilt and regret, which is the worst emotions.
Yes, that's what I was getting at.
Please elaborate that, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who are secondhand entrepreneurs, or even maybe firsthand if they hear us early enough in the younger demo. But that not playing ball is
all I'm saying is you don't want to be there, on the final stages of your life, wishing that you spent more time with the kids or whatever you loved, whether you loved baking cakes and you never tried to, start that business that you could have been really successful at. Are you going to remember punching the clock and all the hours you worked there? That you're going to forget all about that. So, I'm a big believer, obviously. It comes with risk, to your point about being scared or and I think during the process of this, you become more adverse to risk, or you're willing to take on more risk, because it's like, damn, bank already owns a lot of my shit.
What more can they say?
So but on Indian Lake, So Lakeview, was devastated by that tornado. Has it been 3 years now?
Yeah, it was right after it was like 6 months before I started the dumpster company.
Got it.
So 3 years.
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah.
That was, terrible for Lakeview. And I know that our economic development group wants to revitalize that area, and they're talking to some developers. Obviously, you guys are still up at Boardwalk?
Not anymore.
No, we took the route this year. We looked at the numbers and kind of saw we were at, there every time kind of wearing out the welcome a little bit. Numbers slipped a little bit. It still did really good, but then we just figured you can maximize by going other areas. It's a food truck. We put it on wheels.
Mobile.
We were only at Boardwalk for 2 or 3 festivals there.
Okay.
Everything else, we went anywhere from Portland, Indiana to Van Wert to Shawnee, a bunch of other places that we just kind of traveled around.
That's when I first saw you guys, and I think when I reached out, and I was just saying that what they've done there, though, I think, is being studied now across the state because, the Key West in Ohio. And shout out to Matt Stogler. He'd be another good guest for you, the tourism director now. He used to lead up our consulting division at Small Nation, and now he's running, Grand Lake Region, Visit Grand Lake Region, and doing a lot of great marketing on socials and reels and stuff with what they've done at Boardwalk, which that works. I mean, that sells. I mean, it's a great project, and we would love to envision something similar there at Lakeview Indian Lake. So I know some of the parties have been meeting and talking about how we could reimagine that area.
It's fascinating. I mean, I conversely, I actually work for those guys helping marketing too. So
nice.
It's a full circle moment here. It would be amazing to see that. It's I don't know. It's becoming such a difference maker in Salina.
Absolutely.
Locals have sort of gone back toward it. In the beginning, it sort of felt too different. Mercer County as a whole, when you become touristy, you're going to have that adjustment period. And to see it sort of find its landing place with that marketplace out there in mixture with the painted stuff.
Yep.
It's interesting to see how much our town is growing.
And it's wild because I interned with, so I graduated with Jason Bruns, Randy's son.
Yeah, I see him all the time.
Yeah, and so 03, Coldwater. And then Randy was obviously we hung out there and did what young kids did in high school. But I interned for Randy, and it's been phenomenal to watch this come to life because he had this vision probably 25 years ago of shutting down West Bank Road and shops, and it's starting to really come to life. And I think eventually you'll see that street get shut down. That's my guess. I have no idea. But imagine walkable, getting some shopping in there, and just that was his vision, and it's so cool now. And it took a while, right?
Yeah.
But to see what's been happening.
So
now.
I get to intern under. I get to work under Randy and his family. They've been amazing for me. But it's also almost his own doing why my thought process is starting to change. And I think he knows that deep down, that the mentorship that he's given me is sort of elevating my thinking to something a little bit more.
Love that.
And it's the reason Bill's here to change operations and the way we think. It's a reason that we're listening to the community of, hey, you're going to too many festivals now. We want accessibility to you. I don't want to have to get my dress on and buy tickets to something to be able to participate in your chicken. So we're really honing in on that balance going into year 3, and I'm really excited about that. It kind of internalized in thinking about that. My question for you, and even Bill, I love the text you sent me today about deleting social. So I'll ask you both here. Do you think right now, and Bill, you're young, and you're still young, Adam, are you chasing success anymore, or are you chasing peace?
It's a good question.
I got a really good answer for that. I would say that I'm chasing both, very easily answered to that. But I think mine is more, Dan Martell says it all the time. He's got a good book, Buy Your Time Back. Essentially, that's kind of the thought process of socials aren't my job. That's your area, and you're really good at it. I'll post on socials once in a while for two dads and stuff, but 95% of it's Mitch, and even it's a picture of me. He took it of me and posted it. So I'm not usually...
We need more Bill.
Yeah, he says it all the time. So I'm not usually the guy that's like, hey, check this out. It's
right.
not first in my brain. But I think I'm chasing success more than peace, but I'm trying to make my success peace. So I'm trying to find how I can chase a dream, but also make it peaceful, which is kind of back to your enjoyment piece of it, right? If you really love what you're doing, you'll never work a day in your life, right? But I think if you can find the goals that align and work towards both of them. That's what you need to do, because if you're just going to chase success, you probably won't find peace. If you're just looking for peace, you might be successful, but I think you're going to run yourself ragged to just find the peace and really understand that. So I guess to your point, quantitative data, what do both of those look like? I'm trying to take the accesses to meet and find a lot of success and peace. And I've found the less I chase success and numbers and dollars, the happier I am. Now, I'm also, to your point, I am in a pretty gifted position. I've had, pretty well-paying jobs for most of my life and done well for myself. Others don't have that opportunity, but I'm really looking away from materialistic things. We joke about the Honda, right? $408,000. She's about to $409,000, probably by tomorrow, right? Like, it's not what I like. I like a good home, but time with my son and my family and my friends, and that means more to me than any dollar will ever have. And that's an easily cliche answer. But it's very easy for successful people and driven people to put that stuff to the side. I've been guilty of it. Not really for longevity times, but I've been weeks where I've not been home a whole lot. Mm-hmm. And then I come home and you get that big hug for Riker, and it's just like, shit. Like, you can feel he feels I was gone. And that hurts. It also feels really good because he's loving on you. But he's 8. That hug probably won't last a whole lot longer when he gets to maybe Reed's age at 12 or 16.
He's still hugging and kissing.
So that's good. That's good. And I think that's important that you instill that in him, because I don't think my dad ever said he loved me once, hugged me, or kissed me my entire life.
Same.
Very old school, very tough shit, do what I said mentality. And I have that. I have that hard hat mentality. But I do have a pretty big heart for the kid that I want to make sure that he understands to feel what love means so he can also give love, I feel like.
Yeah. And I turn, my birthday's 2 days after Reed's, so in a couple weeks, I turn 41. And one thing I'll say is, though, I can't burn it like I used to. I do, and I try, but when you're 25, it's just different than when you're 41.
Gets up a little quicker.
And, yeah, and not only physically, but I think I am gravitating more towards that. And I don't want to lose the drive and the fire that got me here. But I think, man, the last 5 years of really, really tough business, and those are the things that people don't understand because they just see the social media or whatever and you're killing it or whatever, right? Getting kicked in the teeth like that really can change my outlook, because, and then with employees that a lot of them need help or support, or I've become more compassionate. And I guess that is leadership, to your point. I think I've become a better leader in the last 5 years. And I don't know if this is because of age or because we were greatly successful in the first 5, probably got a little too confident maybe, and just being completely blunt and honest, and then went through hell for 5 years. And I just want to lead with love and compassion in that piece. Yes, success is awesome. We got to pay the bills. And someday when all this shit's paid off, hopefully we can cash in. But as long as I can keep the ship afloat and get the right people on the team, that's going to bring me peace and be able to have the flexibility. My daughter was sick yesterday and she wanted to stay home. And I canceled a couple meetings, moved them, and stayed home with her and worked from home. And we had a day, and that is the part of entrepreneurship. Yeah, sometimes the money's great, sometimes it's not. But having the flexibility and to be able to do some of those things is really, really just as important, I think.
I love the concept right now is very popular on socials. It's very, specifically my algorithm is manifestation, speaking it into existence. One of the things too, Bill, that you had mentioned, and it brought it to my mind, is one of the things that I most commonly hear is people can't because they say they can't. And subconsciously, what I try to do is I try to think about, okay, I wanted to chase money, right? To your point, Adam. I wanted to chase money because that was the environment I had. You got to have a good job. You got to have this. You got to have this. You got to have enough money because you got to this.
And you're passing out $15,000 to servers.
Exactly, 100%. But my point is, to bring it back to you, Adam, is once I realized, I would think in the mentality of what would I do if I had money? All right, I would still be kind, and I would still be generous, and I would still be good to my employees. Well, that helped me internally start to manifest does money even need to be there for me to be these things, right? And then I thought, about scarcity and abundance. It was something one of our guests, Tom Burden, came on, and it really hit me because it makes me think about decisions I'm making and sort of like why on a molecular level. Why do I want to control this? Why am I mad about the tape, Bill? Why? And if I'm going to get 1% better every day, like you say, Bill, it's sort of, I need to have abundance. And I really love what you said, Adam, to tie this all back together. It's like, if you want love and compassion and abundance, you need to bring it internally first. You need to have so much love and compassion and abundance that it starts attracting others. You're not out there to help people. You will help people by being the best version of yourself. And I think that's the piece of advice that I want to say as we head into the game show round of the Two Dads podcast.
Oh, I didn't know there was a game show.
There is a game show round.
You don't listen enough.
But he will, because this is the game show round. Adam and Bill, it's spooky season. We're dressed up here if you're watching on YouTube.
No cheating.
And we're about to find out.
I got right off.
I'm sorry, I'm just on a game show over here. I'm just kidding. It's spooky season. We're about to find out just how well you know your state. Whether you're building it or you're driving all around it in Bill's case with this new job. This game's called Town or Terror. I'm going to name a place and you tell me if it's a real Ohio town. Or is it something I made up like Bellefontaine? We're going to go one each. This is going to be a game show. Our winner takes home the official coveted Two Dads t-shirt that we already gave Adam. So Adam's...
Well, I've got these here.
All right. We're doing a jersey swap. But
Here we go. That's a good thing.
That's perfect. Let's show those up for the camera. If you're watching on YouTube right
Tap
now.
of Ohio.
It says Brewfontaine. I'm just kidding. Brewfountain. Tap of Ohio. All right, guys, here's how it works. You're going to say town if you think it's real. You're going to say terror if you think it's fake. If you get it right, you live. Get it wrong, you're stuck in Knoxmative forever.
You can kick or receive, Adam. That way you know.
Yeah, would you like to kick or receive? You want to go first or
I'll
second?
Kick.
Okay.
All right, so I'm first. All right.
Bill Ray's going to go first, then you'll go second. Again, if it's a real town, you say town. If it's not, and you think it's fake, you say terror. All right. Pretty layups in the beginning. Bill Ray, I'm going to give this one to you. Ready? Wapakoneta.
Come on. Hey, you kicked. Town.
All right. 1 point for Bill. All right. Number 2 for Adam. Climax.
Town.
That's a town. Well done. 1-1 right now. Back to Bill. Beavertooth.
Yeah, I'm going to say terror.
That's a terror. 1 for Bill. Funk. Ohio.
Town.
That's a town. It's a tight race right now. Here you go, Bill. Back to you. Gizzard Falls.
Shout out ENRs. They have some incredible gizzards.
Oh, I love gizzards.
I am going to say terror.
That's a terror. Everyone's on a hot streak tonight. Here we go. Knock 'em stiff.
Terror.
That's a town in
Damn!
Ross County.
there.
In Ross County. Bill is up +1 right now. Okay?
I don't even know where Ross County is.
Here you go, Bill. Back to you. Turkey Bend, Ohio.
I'm going to act like it's the southeast corner by West Virginia because that's where turkeys like to try. And I'm going to say it's a town.
That's terror.
Damn.
Adam for a chance to come back with a layup. Bellefontaine.
Town.
That's good. You better get that one right in your economic development over
Riker was here before trying to pronounce Bellefontaine. He's
Bellefontaine.
Like, Fanton. Like,
if you haven't
right.
seen those YouTube videos, they're very good about pronouncing how towns. Here we go. Back to you, Bill Ray. It's a tie ball game. Blissfield.
Sounds nice. Sounds like a nice Mercer County farm town. I'm going to say it's a town.
It's a town. Well done. Back to you, Adam. Mudlick.
Town.
Terror. Bill Ray, you're up
Oh,
one
Mudlick
right now.
Tap House
Yeah,
is a restaurant.
I don't make up the rules. I just make the game shows. Bill, back to you. Coolville.
Population, nobody. Terror.
That's a town. Nice
Damn.
try. Coolville, Athens County. Back to you, Adam. Crumville. Town or terror?
Town.
That's a terror. Damn. Bill's still up 1, I believe. Pancosburg, Bill.
Winchester, Selville, terror.
That's Fayette County. That's a town.
Man.
To tie it up,
Who
Adam.
names these places?
Friendship, Ohio.
Town.
That's a town. It's tie ball game. Back to you, Bill. I'm going to start speeding them up. Goat Ridge,
Town.
Ohio.
Town.
Terror. Back to you, Adam. Defiance. Town or terror?
Town.
+1, Adam. Zaleski, Ohio. Town or terror?
Zelensky off of
Pull it.
terror.
Town. Damn. Adam, to take the lead. No, you're up 1, right?
He's up
He's
one.
up 1, sorry. To go up 2. Bacon Run, Ohio.
Town.
That's a terror. Bill Ray coming back with Lucky, Ohio.
Town.
That's a town.
All
and
right.
Adam to win the game with a tiebreaker. It's Chatterfield. Town or terror?
Terror.
Terror to win the game.
That's a cool nickname.
That's a
cool
fun
town
one.
name.
That's all the time we have on the Two Dabs Podcast, episode number 30. Adam Rammel, thank
you
you
guys.
for being a wonderful guest. This was very insightful. I had a blast. Bill Ray, Slick Willie to my left. How you feeling after that one?
I'm feeling pretty good. That's a really good episode. Shout out Shohei Ohtani last night. He reached base 9 times. 9. Mitch didn't reach base 9 times at Little League.
I've never been around to second base. I still think that's the shirt, the boob thing. I'm not sure. Adam, thank you for being here.
Thank you, boys.
Appreciate you, boys. We'll see you next week for Two Dads Podcast, episode number 39. Good night.